Lean back and relax and let all your cares melt away, because you're about to enter the world of the prepared mind.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sunday Night Live. It is the Prepared Mind channel. This is the zoo. We've got YouTube. We've got the preparedmind.club. We've got our other YouTube channel, and we've got subscribestar.com. We've got Uman's X channel. We've got Facebook, BitChute, Rumble. We are all over the internet trying to reach every single human being across the planet, around the world, that wants to be free. But especially, folks, in the country, my country, the United States of America, we are engaged in a battle for free speech and for freedom. Now, we've got, I saw Big Bob Hunter in the comment section from Scotland, one of the biggest hotspots on the planet for, well, opposition to white population replacement, opposition to natural-born citizens being attacked, murdered, and yes, even raped by people in the country. We got a hell of a show for you, folks. This is Sunday Night Live. It is your show. I've got a lot to talk about, but I love giving you guys the reins. It's your shot. Down below in the video description, we've got CashApp, PayPal, and Venmo to get you guys up on the screen. Also, we have on YouTube itself, you can become a YouTube member, even though I recommend becoming a preparedmind.club premium member at our flagship website. But we've also got the super chat button right up there. You hit that, put a comment in the comment section, and I will get you on the screen live. I'll make you famous. You'll make yourself famous, because that's really what happens here. Sunday Night Live is your show, guys. It is your show. In fact, the whole channel is your channel. If no one listens, if no one watches, if no one comments, if no one supports it, I'll just go away. I'll just sit in my little corner here in my bunker in the great state of Florida, drinking my coffee, waiting for the stupid to get to my neighborhood. Because it's going to happen, folks. It is already started. That's the crazy part. It's already started. Are you prepared for more? Now, this movie here, Citizen Vigilante, starring Armie Hammer. I read that movie is at the #1 top on Amazon. Now, I checked their chart. No mention of it. You have to look for it. You have to ask for it. I had to type in Citizen V before it would pop up on Amazon, Citizen Vigilante. I just typed in Vigilante, and it's like, no, we don't know that. Everyone is calling for it. Everyone is watching it. It is making a difference. People are waking up. Now, we've heard a lot that politics is like a pendulum. It goes over to the freedom side, and then it goes over to the away from freedom side, and then it'll go back to the freedom side, because people can't make up their fucking minds, a lot of them. But right now we're on the anti-freedom side, and it's about to start swinging back. So what we're hearing, what we're seeing, what we're thinking about as freedom-loving people, whether you're in Scotland or Ireland, America, Germany, France, Canada, Australia, it doesn't matter. If you're thinking, if you're pushing for freedom, remember, those people on the left, they've got that pendulum swung way over here on the fuck you. We're going to rape you, kill you, steal your property, communist side. And there's a huge amount of pressure there. And now we're pushing it back. They're pushing as hard as they can because they want that pendulum to keep going towards tyranny and communism and religious hatred of Christians and whites. It's a fact. If you listen to what they say, listen to a Muslim imam. Listen to an Israeli rabbi talking shit about white people in America. Find it. You'll see that Middle Eastern religions want us destroyed. That's why we have the destruction we have. I don't remember signing up and saying, you know what, it'd be a good idea to bring the enemies of America, freedom, liberty, decency, Christianity, and just our country. That's a great idea. Let's bring them in and see what happens. Let's have some fun with that, huh? Nope, not at all. Anyways, this movie, Citizen Vigilante, is very, very popular. And the left is saying it's encouraging violence. No. The police, the government, the judges, the liberals on the street are the ones pushing for violence against us, the people. This movie is showing what happens when the people have had enough and they start fighting back. So let's get into our show, shall we? I'm having a big cup of cafefe.com. That's right. I am a deplorable coffee drinker. But having said that, it is Sunday Night Live, and Super Chats above $50 gets what? Buys me a Glenfiddich 18-year single malt scotch. And today, Darcy T is kicking off the show with a $50 PayPal Super Chat donation. And so this one, Darcy, is from you. And by the way, Chin Music, who usually excoriates left-wing anti-freedom scumbags, he'll have his comments in here soon enough. And if he's in the comment section, enjoy the chat. Enjoy sharing your thoughts with him. Semper Fi to you, Darcy T, and Semper Fi to all of you who support this channel. Oh, wow. I tell you, but smooth, like mother's milk. I tell you what, Darcy T says, wondering about the new movie called Citizen Vigilante that Elon Musk just opened up for free viewing. It seems to be banned in certain countries like Germany and wide open in others. Call me suspicious, but I can't help wondering if it's just an artificial controversy created to move the right toward a violent reaction to the flooding of illegals into Western countries. It's clear they want conflict to further their agenda of a world government run by them. And this is just another of their evil schemes moving it toward that end. Salute. I tell you what, Darcy, that is a great point. It is very real. It is valid. It is valid because the powers that be in Washington, in Brussels, in the World Economic Forum, the powers that be down in Tel Aviv, they don't care if we're fighting each other here. In fact, they want it. They want people in Ireland and Scotland and England fighting in the streets for their lives, their culture, their families, and their country. They want us fighting in America for our values, our laws, our families, our culture, our lives, because it'll kill people, create chaos. And what happens in chaos? Think back in 2020. The government sat back and said, hey, we're too busy. We can't help everybody. You're on your own. And violence erupted everywhere in the United States of America. And I was in small town America, Northern California, extreme Northern California, where there's extreme right-wingism. And the people there weren't going to tolerate it. But the people in the cities, the big cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, cities like Detroit, Minneapolis, Chicago, cities like Baltimore, Philly, Pittsburgh, New York City, they allowed themselves to be fucking destroyed because they wouldn't come out and stop the criminals from taking over their cities, destroying their businesses, terrorizing people, burning stores, looting stores, murdering innocent bystanders, and of course, rape. They want this though, and I think Darcy has a very good point. I am extremely suspicious if the government isn't stopping the movie Citizen Vigilante. Do they want it out there? Do they want whitey to stand up? Do they want conservatives, whether they're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Native? Do they want them fighting mad? We're already fighting mad. Is this movie encouraging people to become violent? In my opinion, no. No, what's encouraging people to be violent is not a movie. What the movie shows is people an option. You don't have to take this. You can do something about this. That's what the movie is showing in a theatric, cinematic, almost documentary way. The people pushing us to become violent is the very governments themselves. They're the ones allowing the criminals in. They're the ones not prosecuting the criminals and getting them out. They're the ones allowing criminals to commit crimes and then be returned right to the street. They're the ones not putting them in prison or deporting them. These are judges, lawyers, cops, politicians. Now, that is not to say there are not good politicians that love America and hate this. Same with good judges, good cops, and good lawyers that want to protect our country because they know ultimately it's going to be their asses too. Their asses too. But I think Darcy is right. They want a violent reaction. But the violence isn't being caused by a movie. They'll blame the fucking movie. Yes, they will. Big Dan the Man, $2 super chat donation, says he watched the movie Citizen Vigilante yesterday. Gives it 2, folks. Gives it 2. Thank you, Big Dan the Man. Folks, by the way, your super chat donations keep the lights on. They keep the scotch in the liquor cabinet. They keep the tuna fish and the Spam in the pantry. They keep the delicious coffee. Now they keep that in the pantry as well. But most importantly, folks, your super chat donations, the button's right up there. Your super chat donations keep this channel alive. I can't do it without you. And I don't think that's hyperbole. I only have so much money to spend on subscriptions, internet subscriptions for not just information, but for the channel itself, right? The preparedmind.club channel, as well as our streaming service that we use that ties into all the social media. Everything costs money, and you guys support it, right? I'm not eating veal and lobster with the Trumps, right? I'm not hanging out with the Pelosi's and the liberal Democrats going, oh, this is great. No one is. None of us are doing that. None of us are having a good time with all this shit. But you guys and your generosity keep me here. So I'm not topside out on the streets having to work 3 fucking jobs or 4 jobs, the gig economy. I'm not driving Uber. I'm not doing DoorDash. I'm not giving massages down at the bus station like most of our politicians, right? I'm not doing that because you guys keep me right here and you give me enough to make sure we are going. And now we've got Big Bob Hunter and, of course, Puss there in Scotland with a 50-pound super chat donation. Thank you, Big Bob. He is in one of the huge hotspots, my friends. Huge hotspots. Bob could go out, step out his door any day and witness a crazed lunatic, anti-Scot, piece of shit Muslim cutting someone's fucking head off or raping a girl in the bushes. Because over there, folks, it's much worse than here in America even. Big Bob, this is a Glenfiddich 18. I don't know what your favorite scotch is, man, but I love the Glenlivet. I love the Glenfiddich. I've had Lafrogue. I've had Macallan. I've had Glenfarclas. I've had Dewar's. I've had, everything. But I have my favorites. And I think it's because, my friend, I just like the peatiness of the Glenfiddich. And I just love the straight up, smooth, just great taste of Glenlivet as well. Anyways, Big Bob, thank you for supporting the channel from across the pond. I got to tell you, it's like mother's milk, brother. That'll tune you up. Ooh, mama, thank you. So Bob has this to say, folks. Like I said, super chat button will get you on the screen just like Big Bob. He says, John, we the normal folks of this world just want to live in peace. Time out there. He is 100% right. We just want to be left alone. We just want to have our jobs, our lives, our families, our property, our rights, the right to breathe clean air, the right to drink clean water, the right to drink clean scotch, the right to have good food. Enjoy a good haggis, if you wish. I don't know if you like haggis, Bob. Enjoy a good, right? Whatever, American, British, Scotch, Irish, good food, for fuck's sake. And not have foreigners climbing over our fences into our homes, telling us what we can and can't eat. No bacon, no ham, no pork chops, no ribs, right? You can't eat that. You can't have a dog. You can't do this. You can't. They're trying to tell us that. Our governments are allowing these fuckheads who don't even know what a wheel is until it was brought to them by Europeans, who have no idea about anything other than and killing people and raping women. They're going to tell us how to live. I mean, if you go to Europe, if you go to the United Kingdom and look at the beautiful cathedrals and the buildings and the way Europe is laid out, it was such a beautiful multi-ethnic cultural system until World War I, World War II, and now today. And who do you think is pushing for the destruction of all those things? Who do you think pushed for World War I? Who do you think pushed for World War II? Who do you think is pushing for the destruction of Europe now, as well as the rest of the Western, civilized, Christian world? So Bob continues. He says, the normal folks of the world want to live in peace and bring up our cats, our dogs, and our family. I love the swing of the pendulum. I long for the day when the pendulum hangs in the middle. I love you, brother. And I tell you what, Bob, I love you too, man. I'd love to meet you. I've met Scots. I've met him in America. I've met him in Lodge. I've met him on the street. Same with the Irish, the Italians, the French. Folks, I love it meeting real good people from Europe, because it's like a cousin you haven't seen in 10 years. You're like, man, we're so close, but we have these cool differences we can learn, but we do have something in common. We love our freedom. We love our lives. We love our culture. We love our food. We love our people. We love our families. Dogs and cats are a huge part of our cultures because it allows us to extend our love outside the human condition and into the world of animals. That includes horses. That includes other animals. And we treat even our farm animals that become part of the food chain, they get treated well. They don't get tortured and slaughtered in cruel ways the way these Muslims want to do it. But on to the pendulum. Yes, the pendulum swung over, and now it's swinging back towards freedom. And they don't like it. They've reached their peak and their zenith. From the LGBT pedophiles to the anti-Christians to the anti-freedom people to these communists, they've met that. But that doesn't mean they're not pushing that pendulum, trying to push it further. But now there's opposition, and we're beating, and we're going to smash it back down, not just to the middle, but it'll swing back over to where everything freedom is preferred over everything not. Now, sadly, and I want to say this, Bob, and to the rest of you, it is my opinion that some countries are not going to make it. It is my opinion that some United States are going to flip communist, flip Muslim, and they're going to stay there. And the poor people, the poor Americans, or maybe I should say this, the unfortunate Americans that are living in areas where it's run by Democrats, they've invited in illegals, and these Muslim sons of bitches are threatening people, destroying businesses, and introducing communist narratives into government against the law, against our Constitution, against the Declaration of Independence, against the Magna Carta. our charter of all of our rights up and down, they're going to be overrun. That's how you know it's a war. And that's why I tell everyone, you need to be prepared. Thepreparedmind.club. Thepreparedmind.club. Get food, get water, get everything, right? Shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self, to get all of that at thepreparedmind.club or anywhere you can. This is just a good starting point. It's a good starting point. Right? You go there, shop around, look and see what you need, because when shit goes wrong, it's going to go wrong big. And again, I described earlier, I said, hey, Bob, Big Bob Hunter, can walk out his door in Scotland and he can see 1 or a dozen or 50 or 100 crazed lunatic Muslims slapping themselves in the chest, swinging swords around, chasing people down the street, raping women in his yard. You don't know, because when shit hits the fan, when it's on top of you, that's it. That is it. It's over. You're now in it. Now, I had quite an interesting meeting today. I met people who are part of the biker community, the American biker community. And I met and talked with someone who's a moderate Democrat, which was quite interesting. And I said, you and I should have you as a guest on the show one time, so you can put up your concepts and ideas and I can rebut them, or vice versa. And all of you can listen to what a moderate has to say to try and defend the moderate position in America. Trust me, if and when that happens, I'll be well prepared to discuss those ideas. All right, folks. Super chat button up here was banged by the big German prepared for a $2 super chat donation. And I appreciate that. No question, no comment with that donation, but your donation does help pay the bills. And yes, YouTube is continuing to ignore us, blacklist us, hide us, and make sure we don't get the support we need. But you guys are doing it. And really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Can't do it without you. What do you guys want to talk about? You tell me. Now, one of the big things I've been after for weeks now and months, because, well, the Band-Aid got ripped off. And when the Band-Aid gets ripped off, you see the wound. You see the damage. You see the disease. You see the cause. And I got to tell you, folks, boy, if this isn't the pot calling the kettle black, there is no way to describe and use that. Israel is now saying and recognizing a genocide that was committed. And they're rebuking Turkey, folks. Turkey. They're saying Turkey has had a century of denial over their Armenian genocide. Unfucking believable. This is the pot calling the kettle black. Israel is not just, it's not that they committed a genocide in Gaza. They've committed a genocide in Gaza, and they're continuing to commit genocide in Gaza, and they're moving that genocide into Lebanon. And while they're in Lebanon genociding them and attacking Iran and using American fucking weak-ass politicians to push the war and the American support of the war against Iran, Israel has been threatening other countries, both Egypt and Turkey. And now they're like, oh, Turkey, they got a denial of genocide. Israel commits genocide in Gaza for the last 3 years. But now they're recognizing that a nation that they threatened with invasion and annexation, meaning they'll take parts or as much of Egypt, and they'll take and annex as much of Turkey as they can. They just said that within 2 weeks. But Turkey's the bad guys? Something they did 100 years ago? Folks, the stupid is going to get bigger and bigger and louder and louder. Know who the enemies are. Now, I'm gonna use this here. Okay. We're going to go back to World War II. We're going to look at the Nazis, one of the most reviled, hated political moments and movements in human history. If you were standing on the street minding your own business and you look like me, a white guy with blonde hair. So, I won't be bothered by any Nazis in Germany back in the 1930s and 40s. But if you're sitting there, right, and you see the Nazi, right, right, an SA or an SS soldier or maybe the Gestapo harassing someone, is he really the problem, or is he just a foot soldier for the Nazi political regime at the top? Right, the answer is simple. Yeah, he's a problem because he's enforcing the rule, but the bigger problem is the people who empowered that scumbag to make everyone's life on the street hell. Right? So we're just going to play that game. Nazis are bad. Nazis are bad. But their political leadership used the average grunt dumbass to go after people and make their lives difficult. Now, let's fast forward the film from 1940 to 2026. That's 86 years into the future. 86 years. We have a government, not just in America, but in the UK, in Europe, the European Union, in Canada, in Australia, in New Zealand. We have governments that are allowing our destruction. So they're bringing in muscle. That would be the Muslims. They're having our law enforcement turn against us and say, you can't criticize them. You can't make fun of them. You can't make them uncomfortable. Oh, that's happening in America. It's coming. It's coming. Pay attention, Bob. Pay attention, Vincent in Belfast. Pay attention, Remy Marsh in the Netherlands. Pay attention, Viking up north. Pay attention, all my brethren down in Australia. They're going to make it even more difficult. But see, while we're having problems with the Muslims and our own government sending police out against us, who is the real problem? It is the politicians above them telling them to do this, allowing this influx of anti-freedom, anti-Christianity, and anti-white. Facts, folks, facts. If you have, if you want to argue or debate, right, you've always got the comment section down below. And if you want to get on the screen here and discuss your thoughts over any topic within this SHTF fucking kaleidoscope of crap, super chat button is right up there. And I want to hear what you're thinking. So we have our own problems here. The Gestapos, the Germans had the German soldiers and the German government, and that was it. Today, we've got Muslims and crazy radical fucks. Then you've got the police. Then you've got our own government. And then you've got the people buying the politicians. We don't have 2 layers of stupid. We've got 4. And we've got 2 at the top. We've got sellouts, traitors, and then we have those that, well, buy them. Politicians are nothing more than prostitutes. And they'll work for whoever gives them the most money. So there's this little organization out there called APAC. And they are buying politicians in America. And they go by other names in other countries around the world. And they want to destroy us. They truly want us destroyed. They truly want us destroyed. The stupid, in other words, is going to get bigger. Israel says Turkey is evil. Israel says Turkey's committed genocide 100 years ago, and they haven't said sorry. While Israel is killing everyone, saying, good, kill him, starve him. Terrorists, women, men, children even. Yeah, they are genocidal maniacs, and they don't give a fuck. So let's continue here. What do we want to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about? It's your channel. I'll get you on the screen here. super chat button right up there. Pops up on my screen. I see you're there, just like Big Bob Hunter, just like Big Dan the Man, just like, well, Big German, everyone. You can get, everyone's allowed. Oh, well, you have to be a subscriber to comment. You have to be a subscriber for 5 minutes to comment. Otherwise, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, share the internet address right at the top of the screen. Share it. Text, email. I don't care. Smoke signal. Carrier pigeon the email address to everyone. Friends, family, loved ones, coworkers. Tell them to wake the fuck up. Now, nobody gets a pass, folks, if you're stupid. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I don't care if you're Asian. If you're stupid, you're going to get it. So we in America, at one point in history, told the tyrants and their foot soldiers and their hired goons, their barbaric goons, their barbaric, shall we say, savage goons. They're doing it to us today. The police are the Gestapo. They're the redcoats. Get this. Our Declaration of Independence was written July 4th or signed July 4th, 1776. We now have in the United States of America, from the freest country in the world, we're still the freest in many ways, the freest country in the world, an idiot black TV news host is complaining that the Declaration of Independence is soiled. Oh my God, not soiled. It's soiled with racism and a bad word, a slur. Oh my gosh. A political paper has said something that points out there's people out there that are killing us and we don't like it. So we're going to call them a name. Just days ahead of our 250th anniversary, the Declaration of Independence. Here's the slur. So this idiot on TV, Blackwell, he is focusing on a specific passage in the world's most audacious Declaration of Liberty and Freedom. It is clearly written. Who is the problem? Who are the problem peoples? What are the problem actions? It lays it out and says, fuck you. Okay? So the idiot TV host, Blackwell, focused on a specific passage that's in the Declaration of Independence. And the Friday free-for-all will be on, July 3rd. So I'll probably read the Declaration of Independence and have it released on July 4th. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But one of the grievances this idiot is quoting and saying is it's soiling the Declaration with racism and a slur, right? The Declaration lists the grievances against King George III of England. And it stated that the king, not the redcoats, not the governors, the king is the one who excited domestic insurrections amongst us. Sounds like January 6th. Our own government shit on us, stole an election, then abused, beat, and even murdered its own citizens in the January 6th protests by becoming violent. The government excited an insurrection and violence. So back in 1776, the people then said, King George has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. Meaning, King George, through his agents in the Americas, hired, paid money to, made it convenient, provided weapons, maps, areas to go rape, murder, burn, and pillage every fucking body. And that was in addition to bringing over European mercenaries and English redcoats. So, if an Indian tribe, a North American, Native American Indian tribe, was hired by Whitey King George to go murder everyone, all ages, all genders, everywhere. It's wrong to call them merciless. It's wrong to call them savages. It is savage. Bringing Muslims from North Africa, the Middle East, the Far East, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, and the Sudanese, all of these scumbags are fucking savages. They're merciless Mohammedans. They're jihad Joes. They're fucking savages. So if they're savages today, what's wrong? If these are the savages we see today calling to kill us, why is it wrong to call the Indian savages of 1776 that? Because they took money to murder people. Now, I understand the Indians, a lot of them weren't fucking happy with white people, but a lot of the Indians were happy with the white people. Because what did the white people bring them? Horses. Guns made it easier for them to defend themselves against other merciless Indian tribes, as well as hunt more efficiently. They got the benefits of Western civilization. Yeah, I know they got a lot of bad benefits too, and hey, here we are. But at that time, folks, calling murderous Native Americans savages, that was the language of the times. To call them barbarians or to call them merciless. So that's a slur? Oh my God. Right? That was the language of the times. There's no crime. There's no crime. It's not racist. No one said the merciless Indian savages are beneath us. We're saying they're doing bad shit. But the murders and rapes of colonists was real. So the fuck is this modern day charlatan piece of shit guy on TV? A carpet-bagging commie sack of shit. I say God bless freedom. Freedom of speech and freedom to defend ourselves. What do you guys think? What do you think? Is that wrong? Do we have to apologize for what was done 250 years ago? How much apologizing do we have to do? Are we getting letters from every American tribe? Geez, sorry about raping your women and burning your farms and murdering you and scalping you and raping your women. Am I going to apologize now to the people who are robbing us, committing fraud, raping us, murdering us, stealing our property? No. Hell no. It's not racist. It's pointing at fucking facts. Gotta love it, folks. What I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to get across here is you need to speak up. There is nothing wrong with speaking up and sharing your opinion. But of course, folks, of course, the government doesn't like it when you speak up. Well, Big Bob Hunter from Scotland checks back in with a £5 super chat donation. He says, John, if I was a newborn, gentle, loving Christian baby, what advice would you give me? I think I'm understanding what you're asking for here, Bob. What you're saying is if I just woke up, I'm a newborn waking up to what's going on in the world, what advice would I give you? Well, you know, the trick is I don't know where you live, what city, what laws are being enforced against you, but this is what I would do. I would meet people in person. I'd go to a pub, or in America, we call them a bar or a club, but go to a pub. I would talk to locals in my town, and I would find out what their attitude is. I would learn who is pro-Scotland or pro-Ireland or pro-England, find out who they are, pro-American, pro-freedom, pro-liberty. And I would say, we need to stick together. And I would build a union. I would build a community. I would build a militia of my countrymen to join me in the fight against the bad guys. Because the bad guys are violent. And they're continuing to be violent. In some cases, they are gathering together in groups and acting like violent militias. and they need to be met and opposed with force. That's it. Now, I'm not telling you to break the law. Like I said, I don't know what jurisdiction everyone's in. You may not be allowed to even utter the word Muslim or foreign fuck. Right? You may not be able to call them a bunch of Mohammedan cunts. I don't know. But you and me and all of us, we need to stand up for our rights, our family, what matters to us. We need to be willing to stand up. You have to be willing at some point, or you're just going to be slaughtered. If you wait for everyone else to do it, you're going to look around one day and everyone else is going to be gone or dead, and it's just you. Or you're looking around waiting for someone to come to your defense as you're having the ever-loving snot kicked out of you or stabbed to death. And there'll be a policeman looking down on you. You'll have a Tommy. I don't know what you call them in Scotland. Fucking bronze, right? You'll have one of them with their badge standing over there. And you're like, I've been stabbed. And they're going to say, I don't think so, mate. Well, they're not your mates, are they? Any government agent that allows that, promotes it, encourages this disgusting takeover and the absolute horrifying victimization of little girls. And I got to tell you, folks, I'm keeping a sharp eye out in the areas that I go through in Florida. And I've looked on the maps for where they're saying there are mosques. And I watch out for any of these fucking turban heads. And I'm not afraid to stare them in the eye when I see them. And they're rare. I keep hearing they're all over the place. I don't see them. I don't see them. But they're here somewhere. I'm sure of it. I have not seen any of these protests. I haven't seen anyone trying to put their fucking prayer mat down in the street. I'm not seeing it. But I think it'd be a hell of a thing if one did in front of me and I could just blare my horn in their fucking face until they get the fuck out of the road. And if they don't get the fuck out of the road after 30 seconds, I will get them out of the road for me and everyone else. Because it is a life safety violation to block traffic, to stop traffic, because there are emergency vehicles and people who need help. And the rest of us have a right to travel. And these fucking people trying to stop traveling, stop freedom, shutting down businesses, protesting, threatening, all that, it's done. And it's being allowed by the cops and the lawyers and the judges and the government and the people that pay off. Oh, it's coming, folks. It is coming. Thank you, Big Bob, again. And it's great to hear from you across the pond. It's great. It is absolutely great to hear from you guys across the pond. But we've got the same thing brewing and developing here in America. Up in Canada, it's worse. Down in Australia, it's worse. But America, as free as we are, even with the Constitution, we have some serious problems. We have some serious, serious problems. Let's get into some of the things that are going on. The jackass, anti-American Whoopi Goldberg. She looks like the Predator. She looks like the Predator. From Predator, the movie. She is a complete moron. And she's declared that nobody wants voter ID. Well, it turns out she's completely wrong. 80% of America, folks, millions and millions and millions of Americans, 80% of people polled want the Save America Act. So that 80% of America, that includes some Democrats, doesn't it? We want voter ID before you're allowed to vote. You need to be an American before you're allowed to vote. People like Whoopi, they oppose that, and they want illegals voting so they can elect more anti-Americans to government positions. The math is easy to figure out. Fuck you, Whoopi. Fuck you to The View and all socialist, communist, Mohammedan, Zionist fucks. Because that's what they are. They're trying to destroy the entirety of Western civilization. Okay, I'm telling you, it's going to get cray, cray, cray. I've got one for you here. Citizen Vigilante. The movie that is not creating violence, But it's waking people up to, yes, if the government has caused the problem, you can do something about it. If the government allows violence, you can do something about it. You can. That movie, Citizen Vigilante. Now we got Yankee Watchdog checking in with a 556 super chat donation. He says, after watching the movie twice, if I was a copycat, I would have a hard time stopping at just cops, judges, and uninvited guests. Now, this is an interesting comment because we know there's a lot more bad people than just the uninvited, illegal bastards. And it's more than just the cops, and it's more than just the judges. It's the politicians. They're being bought by, ready for this, lobby groups. Lobbyists are lawyers. And it's not just in Washington, D.C. It's every fucking state capital is surrounded by lawyers, constantly writing laws and constantly taking money from people who hate America and shoving these laws into politicians' faces and telling them to pass these laws which fuck us over. And telling them when it's not about law, it's about policy or law enforcement. They're like, we're going to give you a bunch of money to get you elected. You will not send the cops out to stop these illegals, these teen takeovers, this looting, this raping, and all that shit. And then they'll say, all you have to do is say it's homophobic or Islamophobic or anti-Semitic if you were to enforce the real law. So yeah, I see what you're saying. And I'm going to tell you again, I had this discussion today with a biker. I said, really, what do we do? Once it starts, is it going to stop? Once someone sees and understands it's in their neighborhood and the violence has begun, you're not going to stop at just the cops, judges, and uninvited guests. It's going to be everybody. It is going to be an absolute shit show of stupid out there. Because yes, patriotic Americans who love the Constitution and freedom and they hate treason, they're going to start taking care of business. Now, I've talked to people outside this channel, outside the show. We're not the radicals, folks. You should hear the fucking shit that I hear when I'm out in public or I'm at work. People have had it and they're like, you know what? When the shit goes down, I'm cutting loose on everybody that I know is a fuckhead. But remember, the left, they got guns too. There are a few Democrats who are, veterans. There are Democrats who like guns. There are Democrats who are violent and they want to be armed as well. Plus the gangs, plus BLM, plus these terrorists from other countries. They're here and they're violent and they can get access to guns too. In fact, if you remember, I think it was just about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, we were talking about Trens de Uruguay, the Venezuelan drug cartel. They're transporting weapons and ammunition up into our country. Some illegals were caught in a vehicle with like 100,000 rounds of ammunition. Transporting 100,000 rounds of ammunition. That's the number I remember. It may have been more, but it was thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of rounds of ammo. What, you think they were delivering that to the police for training? You think they were going to drive that from Central America all the way up through America to Canada because, Canada needs more bullets? No, and no. So yeah, people are looking at this movie going, and look, folks, if you're in law enforcement, the military, a sportsman, if you got half a brain, you're going to watch the movie Citizen Vigilante, and you're going to see all kinds of mistakes the guy made, from fingerprints, right, to his safe room, to the way he captures a judge, to the way he deals with the rapist Muslim family and the rapist Muslims' rapist buddies. he left himself open to all kinds of risk. Right? Like, for example, he tells the daughter of the piece of shit, who is the sister of the rapist piece of shit, to go to the door and let the other two guys, or however many guys, into the house while he's holding a silenced pistol on everyone else. You don't do that. She could go around the curve and around the corner and pick up a gun and then come back and start shooting at him. She could tell the other two guys, pull out your guns. You're about to meet the guy that's going to kill the fam, right? It's a mistake, but it's a movie. It's a movie, and it's a good movie. But being a copycat and going about it the way he did, extremely dangerous, right? But it's a movie, and it just shows people you don't have to be weak. You don't have to go. I'm not saying you have to, you need to, you should. You have to go out and commit acts of violence. But everyone does need to wake the fuck up. You need to wake the fuck up and start taking action. You start with free speech, First Amendment, and then you move on to the Second Amendment. You get trained in self-defense to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect your neighbors, your community, your state. And you need to understand that when shit goes down, power can go off. Absolutely, the power can go off. This movie is an absolute reflection of what's going on and the attitude against it. The actions are starting to be taken. The pendulum is going to get pushed back the other way, but only if you and I and people like us continue to share that movie, share this video, the internet address, wake people up, tell your fucking family they're stupid. I have. If you don't see what's going on, you're stupid. If you, right? And they're like, well, what do you mean, John? I'll fucking tell you, right? I'm going to send you some videos. I'm going to send you some news stories. And, you know, half the time I get it back. Oh, geez, I didn't know it was that bad, John. Holy cow. I need to get some self-defense tools. I'm like, you don't forget food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, right? First aid, communications gear, right? Radios, hand crank radios, solar power backup. You need to get ready, because if it goes down, it is going to be a big fucking deal. And I'll say this again, and I've said it last year, and I said it 5 years ago and 10 years ago. The police are not going to protect you if shit gets Mad Max-ish, right? We get some Mad Max action going, guess what the police are going to do? They're going to bug out, right? They're going to bug the fuck out. They're going to drop that fucking badge. They're going to peel off that fucking uniform. They're going to grab their family, get in their vehicles, and they're going to go to their safe place, whether it's some government building, a community of other cops, to a prison where they take it over, or to some place in the country where they all go to protect each other, because they know they're not just a target. The police, that is. They're not just a target of you know, crazed right-wing freedom lovers. They're also a target of the same people that are targeting us. It's just right now they're useful idiots in the cities that are Democrat, where the police are told and mandated to let them get away with all their shit, to let Antifa get away with their shit, to let BLM get away with their shit, to allow them to run wild through the city, setting shit on fire. They know. And folks, look, I know good cops. I've known some great cops that obey the law, obey the Constitution, are serious about the oath they took. They want to protect America, protect themselves, protect their own family. And even they said, look, we know we are a target. I don't care. I've got to protect my family first. If shit goes down and it gets nasty, I'm out. And I can't blame them. I can't blame them. Mr. Chin Music is in the house with a $9.99 super chat donation. And he says, starting with Levin, Shapiro, and a couple unmentionables. This comment, right, coming from Chin Music, doesn't have a lot of context to it, but I think I know what he's talking about. People that are not going to be safe when shit goes down. Who is Mark Levin? Who is Ben Shapiro? And who are the unmentionables? There's probably 6 million unmentionables. But Mark Levin is a reputed conservative commentator. But normally we associate conservative with the Constitution. Lawfulness, not Mark Levin. He went from the pretense of being a conservative to being a far, I don't want to use the word right, an extreme Zionist socialist. That's right, a fucking Nazi. A fucking Nazi. That's what Mark Levin is acting and talking like. He wants people arrested that he doesn't like. He wants people thrown in concentration camps. He wants people killed. He wants them silenced. He wants them punished. Sounds kind of Nazi-ish to me, don't you think? Don't you think? Mark Levin threatens people. He attacks Americans for what? For opposing what Israel is doing. And what has Israel done? The United Nations has said what Israel is doing is war crimes. They're targeting children. And it's evident in the dead bodies they found. They've discovered that on certain days of the week or certain weeks, the soldiers pick different parts of a child's body to shoot. Some weeks, it's a headshot. Some weeks, it's a leg shot. Other weeks, it's a neck shot or a chest shot. You know, we got to practice and stay on target, so they use children. They use women. I've seen the videos, folks. I've watched the videos of people just walking down the street, children carrying water jugs. They get shot. They get wasted. Why? Because these are sick fucking people. They're sick fucking people. They just are. Who's Ben Shapiro? He is another radical Zionist, Nazi behaving jackass. He hates free speech. And he calls anyone that opposes him and his opinion anti-Semitic, just like Mark Levin. Well, I'm sorry, in America, being an anti-Semite is not a crime. But you guys aren't Semites. Ben Shapiro, in my opinion, show me the DNA. Prove to me you're Semitic. And then prove to me you've got more Semitic blood than me or anyone on this channel. Prove it, motherfuckers. Same with Mark Levin. You guys are fucking European Jews. And the Jews are wandering nomadic people for hundreds of years that wandered up and out of Khazaria. Like fucking Romani or gypsies, if you will. And their goal is to, what does history tell us they've done? Why were they kicked out of 109 different countries over the last 1,000 years? Why? What are they doing? It's the behavior, a consistent behavior that is anti-civilized because they think they're special. They poison wells. They intentionally spread disease. They promote prostitution. They promote child prostitution. They are accused and were accused in every country of kidnapping children, dismembering them, drinking their blood, etc. Now, do I know that that's a fact, that it actually happened? No, I don't, because I didn't live 100 years ago or 500 years ago or 800 years ago. I didn't live in those European nations at that time. All we have are the legal documents that were written and stored and saved and cataloged and mentioned and republished for hundreds and hundreds of years to know who the bad guys are. That's who the unmentionables are. The rest of them, the same people that are now out of Europe and down in Israel that are committing genocide, they say some of the most awful, hate-filled, crazy shit. And I invite them, go ahead, say all you want. Tell us who you are, you dumb fucks. Show the world that you're a bunch of genocidal, murdering pricks. The United Nations says they're war criminals, that these are war crimes, that they're violating the human rights and the thing that's decent. But guess what? The Israelis don't give a fuck. They think they're God's chosen and that everyone else are goyim, non-Jews, and that goyim are cattle and they can be killed, raped, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's who the enemy is, folks. They're telling us it. They're showing us. They're not hiding it. They're not. Now we got Big Bob Hunter back, and he gets the hat trick, first hat trick of the day with a 10-pound super chat. And he says, John, non-compliance is a good tactical defense. That's correct. Non-compliance, meaning don't obey their laws. Don't get caught, don't obey. He says, but government stooges have infiltrated every level of society. Talk about Trojan horses. Yeah, they are. So, John, why do the left, the woke communists, hate us so much? Oh, you challenge me. Why do communists hate us so much? Have you ever met somebody, Bob, and the rest of you as well, who hates everybody? And you're like, why do you hate me? Have you ever met one of these? I'm not talking about another religion or another people or another culture, your own people, your own neighbor, even your own families. Because I've got this in my family. I've got lots of family drama right now, just like the rest of you. But get this, they are jealous. If you are remotely successful, or you don't have to be successful like a millionaire. I just mean if you are successful in life, what is success? Right? We constantly say, I want my children to be better than me, to have more opportunity than me. I want my children to be more successful than me. What is success? Success is living your life and being happy with what you're doing. Happy with your family, happy with your children, happy with your country, happy with life, enjoying this journey of life. The journey of life isn't supposed to be full of hatred and anger. The journey of life isn't supposed to be full of pain and suffering. But it can be. And if you look at who's in charge of the government, who influences the government, and who are the violent shock troops of our government, what is it they're doing? They're trying to destroy us. They don't want us happy. They don't want us living good life. That's why they give us shit food, shit medicine, shit laws, dirty water, dirty air. They fucking pollute everything they can, the government and these corporations. They don't care. Now, they've realized they don't want to fuck the world up so they can't enjoy it, but they want to take it from us and take it away. Right? Communism is a political ideology based on Talmudic Zionist religion, a religion of hate and evil Satanism. They admit it's Satan. Here's a good one. An American Jew, if you will, Sammy Davis Jr. That's right, from the Rat Pack. That funny little cute singing dude, Sammy Davis Jr. He says they worship Satan. Right? Communism comes from Karl Marx, and it is a Talmudic Zionist philosophy and political program to destroy everyone. It tells people, look at that guy over there. And here we go, Bob. I'm getting into your stuff about us, right? If you're successful, they tell everyone, see that successful person? He is successful. Bob Hunter is successful because he is making money and you're not. And you should enjoy a portion of that because without you, Bob Hunter wouldn't have such good stuff. And they build on this idea of entitlement. Everyone's entitled to everyone else's shit unless you're an elite. And you want to make sure everyone is equally miserable. I mean, the same, right? So they push that. No one should be happy when everyone else is miserable. No one should have anything when everyone else is miserable. So what do? They bring in all the fucking miserable people they can into our countries and then tell them communism guarantees you a home, money, food, a car or transportation. And that's what they're doing with all of these illegals. They bring them in and give them a home and give them money and give them food, give them clothes. They don't give them a fucking job. They don't tell them to be productive. They allow them to get away with crime. So these people are entitled burdens on the rest of us, being told communism's the way to go. New York City, Mayor Ma'am Danny, that piece of shit from another fucking country with no political experience, not an American, a fucking liar too. He is a Muslim and a communist. And guess what he's doing? He's using communists as muscle to assist his Muslim fuckheads in New York to steal the property of everyone they can, because they want to steal it and they need the political capital, that is the political strength and power to do it. So they keep promising more and more to other people, creating more and more entitled fucks who look at everyone else who has, and they're jealous of it and they want it. And the people at the top know this is how you bring down a free country and you create communism everywhere for everybody. And nobody gets to be wealthy and no one gets to be successful. And then when that government consolidates its power, then it kills off the people it no longer needs. It kills off the people it no longer wants. And that, my friends, is what communism has done time after time after time after time. They don't stop. You cannot satisfy them. You can't satisfy them. I mean, get this, right? There's now a political party in America, Bob. I'm going to pull you off the screen, amigo. There's a political party in America. It's called the Democrat Socialists of America, the DSA. And they are Democrats who are disgusted with Democrats. They are more communist than the Democrat Party. And they call themselves the Democrat Socialists of America. So Van Jones, who is a very intelligent race hustler, he's a black man, very intelligent, very well educated, very articulate, fucking smart, but he's a communist. Well, not really. He's actually a fascist socialist. That's right, folks. Right-wing Nazis are socialists. So if you look at what he pushes and what he wants, Van Jones is a Nazi profiteer. And he is now publicly worried. Van Jones is. He's publicly worried about a DSA takeover of the Democrat Party, because the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, are a true communist party that will steal from everyone, that will steal wealth from everyone, top to bottom. They'll steal from even sellout Democrats, because sellout Democrats are rich. The Pelosi's, the Schumers, Mark Cubans. There's more billionaire Democrats in America than Republicans. They will steal money, property, everything. They'll get it from Van Jones. They'll get it from Pelosi. They'll get it from the Clintons. And the Democrats can't have that, folks, because what they want is a two-tiered system. They want us down here with communism, having to give everything up and share everything with a bunch of non-working pieces of shit. And then they're at the top. They're the elites. Van Jones is an elitist Democrat. He wants fascism. He makes money. The government, he gives money to. The government then gives him contracts. And then he takes the money from the contracts and gives it to the government. And the government turns around and gives them more contracts. They have a mutually beneficial relationship while the rest of us get communism. Well, the true communists that hate Zionism, that hate fascism, that hate Nazis, they want to take everything from everybody. And let me tell you where this shows up in history. There was no communist country before Russia was taken over and turned into the Soviet Union, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. 80% of the Bolshevik army, that is to say, a youthful college army of worthless, unskilled, lazy fucks, communists, took over the Russian government after assassinating and murdering in cold blood the Tsar Nicholas and family. You see, there were no aristocrats that were communists or socialists. They were all just wealthy people. So those communists came in and they stole the money of everybody, top to bottom, whether you're a regular person, a small business owner, the bourgeoisie, or even the aristocracy. And they took everything. But see, here in America in 2026, every country has socialists, but they're fascists. They get power, they move to the very top, and they're like, we're going to keep our money, but fuck everyone down low. Fuck the average man. Let's destroy the middle class, make everyone poor, make it communist. We'll rule over them as our cattle, as our slaves, as our goy or goyim, as our, well, infidels, they think. That's what's going on here. That is what is going on here. Period. Period. Woke communists hate all of us, including the Democrats. And Van Jones spells that out. These rich Democrat socialists have become fascists because they have stolen too much money and they're not going to give it up. Now, back when they were poor, oh, you bet. You bet that they were more communist when they were poor, Bob. You bet your ass they were. You bet your fucking ass that they were all communist. But now that they got money, they're like, fuck that. I ain't giving that up. That's for the little people. Unbelievable, but believe it, it's real. We're now going to go to, and folks, super chat donations up here. Get you on the screen here. Chin Music back in the house with a $4.99 super chat donation. He says, hey, no, violence just makes them incredibly uncomfortable every time they show their face in public on our soil. Well, once again, I don't know the full context because I've said so much here. There have been so many comments, but I think I know where you're going with this. We got 300 people live, folks. Share the internet address. Hit the thumbs up. Doesn't cost you a thing. Hit the thumbs up. If you want to comment, you've got to be a subscriber for 5 minutes. So be a subscriber. Share the internet address. This word, and look, you may not agree with me 100%, and I don't give a fuck. You may agree with me and say, John, you don't take it far enough. And I don't give a fuck. I'm being me. I'm sharing what I know, sharing my opinion, and I expect you guys in your world to do the same. Here we can talk about it in the comment section, but in our everyday lives, we should be talking to people. So Chin says, no violence just makes them incredibly uncomfortable every time they show their face in public on our soil. Oh, we're talking about Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, and the other unmentionables. Violence makes them uncomfortable. You see, what you have in America is you have violent Muslims, right? But you have another group of people, the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros, that encourage the importation of these violent Muslims and drug gangs. They encourage the LGBTQ pedophiles because that's part of their culture. Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro are Zionist Talmudists, and they believe in homosexuality being taught to children, transgenderism being taught to children, cross-dressing being taught to children, sexual discussions being made with children in schools. They believe that. And so when they see violence, yeah, it does make them uncomfortable every time they show their face. But they, the Shapiros, the Levins of the world, the Peter Thiels of the world, right? The Alex Karp, is that his fucking name? Of the world. They are uncomfortable seeing violence because if they see it with their own eyes, that means they could be targeted. They have no problem, though, supporting it. The importation of it, the spreading of it, the cultural decay, the spiritual decay. And remember, the media is controlled. Over 90% of the media is controlled by Israelis or people who are Israeli American, dual citizens. Well, their loyalty lies with their religious brethren. And all of these news and opinion organizations are calling for the destruction of Christianity and the destruction of the white race. Ask yourself why. It is because we represent an opposition to them taking over the world and murdering everyone they don't like and subjugating everyone. They oppose us seeing that. They oppose us fighting against it. They oppose us stopping it. And only Europe, America, well, Australia and Canada as well, only we can stop them. Everyone else on the planet, third world fucking idiots. Not counting China, Russia, Japan, but even they represent an opposing force, and they hate that. So they have done what? Every country I just mentioned, except for China and Russia, have these third world piece of shit, low IQ, inbred anti-Christians out there doing what? Raping and trying to impregnate women, murdering the men, making men cower instead of standing up and acting like men. You bet they're uncomfortable every time they're called out. Every time someone says their name, sees them in public, gets not in their face, doesn't commit a crime, and I won't encourage that, but tells them, we see you, you're a piece of shit, you're anti-American, you're anti-white, you're anti-Christian. Look at all the articles on, oh, Christians are a dangerous right-wing conspiracy. They're blah, 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 right? That bullshit. White men need to die. That's why they own media, they own advertising corporations, and every commercial has an interracial couple or shows a third world minority couple superior to everyone else. They're showing us how they want to replace us and breed us out. If you are Hispanic, you should be proud of your culture, proud of your race, proud of whatever you are, and breeding that and making more of that. If you are a good, honest, decent, any race, you should be breeding with your own race and keeping it your race. In fact, when you start breeding races against races, yeah, we're all human. No doubt. Yes, you can crossbreed. There are massive amounts of medical problems that go with that. Shh, it's not talked about. I see it with friends of mine that have done it. I'm like, what's going on here? They got seizures by interbreeding races. But who wants that? Who benefits from that? Well, there are Zionists who say these very words, folks, right? We're going to breed out the white people and make it a unified mongrel race that we can control. That's it, folks. I don't have to lie. All you have to do to understand what I just said is pay attention. Preparedmind.club, folks. That is the store you go to. That's the store you go to get what you need to be prepared. Now we got Big Dan the Man Erickson on the board with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, if the Muslims ever took over, we Christians would be easy to identify because most were circumcised after birth. Well, I don't think they're going to have to take a look at my Johnson to see that I'm a Christian and opposed to them. But I see what you're saying. Now, I'm going to take us back in history a little bit. The Muslims started up in the 600 after Christ, AD, and they started spreading everywhere, moving up through the Middle East, across northern Africa, through and into the Holy Land, moved their way around into Turkey, right? And the Crusades started. All of Europe. It started with Bernard of Clairvaux, who became Saint Bernard, and the Knights Templar. But there were other Knights groups that came. The Knights Hospitallers. That's where the term hospital came from. The Knights Hospitallers, the Knights of Malta, the Teutonic Knights. The Crusades brought armies out of all of Christendom that marched and sailed even across the Mediterranean over to the Holy Land and beat back the Saracens, the Muslims. In Europe, folks, they were going up across the Strait of Gibraltar into Spain and Portugal, made it to southern France before Charlemagne, the king of France, beat them back and destroyed them, ran them back into Spain, and then pushed them out of Spain ultimately, pushed them out of Italy, Corsica, Sicily, pushed them out of Greece, pushed them back across the across and out of Turkey. But they remained and held on to Turkey, right? They were beaten back and they came back again in the 1500s and started pushing into Europe again through Turkey. and they were smashed and defeated again. So here we are, another 400 years later. So 400 years after Islam started, they started invading. They got beaten back. Another 400 years later, they did it again, and they were beaten back. And here we are yet again, 1,200 years total, another 400 years later, and they're doing their shit again. But this time, and I'm going to touch on something here, it's going to upset a few people, and I don't give a fuck, right? In prior times, there was an effort inside of cities. There were turncoats, there were traders that helped the Muslims come in and attack the white Christian people of Europe. They opened the gates. They allowed them in. People were slaughtered. Wells were poisoned. People were poisoned. Children were kidnapped. These fucking people have wanted revenge against white Europeans, against civilized Europeans. Since when? Since the time of Christ. Since the time of Christ, they have wanted their revenge against all of us, whether you're Protestant or Catholic, or even an atheist. As long as you're a European and civilized, they want their revenge. They went after and got their revenge in Russia. They got their revenge in Russia by taking it over during the Bolshevik Revolution, the Red October move, taking over and creating a communist super state. And whoops, they got kicked out. They lost control of the Soviet Union. That's why they're going after Russia right now, using Ukraine. Ukraine is a proxy army of actual, there we are again, fascist Nazis who are doing the bidding of Zionism and the World Economic Forum and the European Union. Fact, fact, fact. And if I'm wrong, someone correct me. I've seen enough information. That's just it. A lot of people go, well, I don't know that. How do I know you're telling the truth, John? You've got to do the work. If you don't do the work, if you don't look it up yourself, you're always going to doubt and wonder. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Do the fucking homework. You've got the internet. You've got books. You got the radio, right? You can figure it out. I had this conversation last night up till midnight, talking to people. Once again, networking and talking to people and explaining facts. They're like, well, I just don't know. I don't have enough information. Go fucking get it. I brought out a stack of books and set them down. Boom. Brought these from my library. All of these books explain to you the facts. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. But they're the facts. It's the cold, hard truth. We're easy to identify, man. Big Dan, we're easy to identify. Why? Look at us. Right? Look at us. We're easy to identify because the moment I see one, I go to, wrinkled brow. I start looking at them, watching them, making them feel as uncomfortable as possible. Not threatening them, not breaking any laws, just letting them know I see. And I've seen a couple of fucking turbans. I've seen a couple of hijabs. I even saw one burqa once. Oh, that was some funny shit. All right. Big Bob Hunter back in the house with another super chat. Big Bob, you, my friend, are responsible for this. 18-year Scotch. Whoops, pulled it a little too thick there quick. Little too thick. Well, it's thick now. Anyways, 18-year small batch single malt Scotch whiskey. And Big Bob Hunter, if you don't know, folks, 50-pound super chat, he is a Scotsman. And this shot glass here commemorates the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps. Semper Fi. And of course, this is made by www.pewter.com, Pewter, pewter.com. They've supplied, well, that. I've got one of these also 250 year anniversary. And here's what they got on the back of it. American flag. Oh, take a look at that. Right. That's who they are, folks. Made in the USA. Heritage Pewter. Once again, I consider them not a monetary sponsor, but an American sponsor. They love America. They're very patriotic, just like cafefe.com. Anyways, here we go, Big Bob, down the hatch. Yes, sir. Bob says, John, I've been working hard as a bus driver. Time out right there. I have seen bus drivers in Spain, in Italy, in France, up in the UK. They are frontline warriors against the stupidity, the entitlement of people from other countries thinking they can just get on the bus. I have seen bus driver taking punches and then going, that's it. And they put the bus in park and they kick the shit out of these people and throw them off their fucking buses. I mean, throw them off. Good. I hope you're one of those guys, Bob. Please be careful. Please be safe. Don't break any laws, but defend your country and the people and everything. That's fucking great. I never thought that bus drivers would be frontline warriors at the start of this. So he says, John, I've been working hard as a bus driver and my cat has been sleeping all day in spite of her political surroundings, but she wants to know if she could go to sleep or wake up or have a whiskey. She should, don't give Puss a scotch, man. Right? Respect to America. Please don't leave Scotland. This is amazing. Everyone in the United Kingdom and Europe looks at America and says, the Epstein list. How can you guys let them get away with it? Arrest those motherfuckers. And then we look at England, the United Kingdom, and go, holy shit, don't let those girls get raped. Don't let those fucking Muslim grooming gangs continue to kidnap, drug, rape, impregnate, and murder and destroy, right? And we're mad about what's going on in your country as much as you're mad about what's going on here. And I know a great deal of people in the world look at the United States of America. They know that we are the seat of liberty, having written the more recent version of the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence, which is in more modern English, of course, and it's still relevant today, still reads very well today. And it writes out, it describes the rights of men to live free, and that tyrants should be opposed and destroyed, and that it is our right, it is our duty to do so, and that we owe no allegiance to a traitor, a liar, or the destructor of our countries, our nations, our belief systems, our cultures, our religions. Whether you're, and I say religions meaning, Catholicism or Protestantism, right? Christianity. Respect to Scotland. Everyone knows or should know the movie Braveheart. Everyone should. Great movie. Great fucking movie. Right? Because it's about freedom. And the Longshanks is a giant pile of shit and a fucking terrorist and a murderer. Right? But then we've got other great movies out there. But anyways, yeah, we love Scotland. I've never heard anyone say, I hate Scotsmen. There are an awful lot of Scots here in America, but also Irish, also Germans. This country is seeded. America is seeded with Scots, Irish, English, and German. If you want to call them Dutch as well. Crazy business, Bob. And there's nowhere else to go. 200, 300, 400 years ago, people escaped England, Scotland, Ireland, Germany, Sweden. Also, we got a lot of Swedes here, obviously, German and Scandinavian. They came across to America for freedom, religious freedom, and then political freedom. There's nowhere else to go. We all have to stand and fight. Bob, if you were to come to America, you would face the same trash you're facing there, just a little different. If I was to flee America and move to Scotland, I'd get along great with everyone there except these fucking invaders. I would respect your culture, the religion, the traditions, and the laws, short of laws that violate the Magna Carta, short of laws that violate the good nature of the Scots. Same with Ireland. The good, pleasant nature of the Irish, I would have to respect. It's their fucking country. But see, we as Christians, we as intelligent, educated, not inbred people feel that way about each other. We are kin and kinfolk. The same way my German ancestry as Celts are related to the Celts in Scotland and Ireland. And the Viking blood that flows in my veins from Scandinavia is the same. Yeah, there's a lot of fighting between the Vikings and those in the British Isles, as well as in Europe, and right, but we're good now. We're good now. Anyways, Bob, thank you again for the great support on the channel. Folks, wake up. Are you prepared? Are you prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Right there. Bam. Preparedmind.club. And now we're going to go on to Needs Info 4345 with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, hey, grilling jalapeno cheddar brats and watching John. Love you, man. Keep it up. Needs Info. I do. I keep it up. I keep going every week. I'm here at the zoo. And all week long, with the exception of bad days, hard days, long days, whatever, I'll do my afternoon broadcast. I'll do that. And then I've restarted because Big Dan has said, hey, he was one of the most vocal people saying, we want 0 dark 30. And so I can't promise it to be always dark, but I can do early morning broadcasts. And they're short, somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes. 10 minutes is a good average. But I started doing that again because, well, my work schedule is now back to allowing me that time, giving me the time to do that. And I will keep it up and I'll keep going until they stop me. Needs Info, until they stop me. And they've stopped me in the past. They have completely stopped this channel by attacking it in the past. Heidi writes, my mom was English. Heidi's a long time contributor and supporter of the channel. Anyways, yep, get your food, water, and everything else, Mike. I hear you. 4th generation. We're in for a ride, folks. And it's not going to be a fun or comfortable ride. But the bad guys, it's easy to know who they are. If they hate you and hate America, they're the bad guys. If they're from another country and they're violating our laws, they're the bad guys. I've got a great example for you. Right? A Florida police officer let a pedophile know, you're done. This wasn't just a regular pedophile, though. This was a south of the border piece of shit, Hispanic pedophile, an illegal alien here in Florida, was busted, and he was trying to meet up and rape children. He was using the internet to groom children to try and meet him, and then he was going to rape them. He was let off in Georgia, the state of Georgia, just north of Florida, for his DUI. But he got busted down here by a Florida cop, and the cop told him, hey, this is what he told him. You're going to prison, and then you're going back to the country you came from. So this pedophile slime ball started yelling, no, don't, no. Too bad, you little fucker. This is Florida. This is America. This is Western civilization. This is decency, and you're fucking done. We need more of that, folks. More of that. Now, we've got great people supporting this channel, and the super chats right up there is how you do it. There is also, of course, down below in the description, we got PayPal, Venmo, and CashApp. They work as well. And we get great support through that. They just don't show up on the screen, but the super chats do. And so we got David on the Bayou with a $10 super chat. And he says, while it might seem risky or daunting, people need to find other like-minded patriots now. I agree, 100%. It does feel a little uncomfortable. It does feel like an insurmountable, difficult task, daunting. It does seem like you're taking a risk. You're going out on a limb and you're saying, hey, right? I need to find other like-minded people. You can't do it. We all can't do it by ourselves as lone wolves individuals. So I used to be a little more cautious. But now what is being done in our country is so fucking far out in left field. So disgusting. All I have to do is go, dude, what do you think of this pedophilia going on? And no one has said, oh man, that's a great idea. I like that. And if I go, hey, what do you think of all these illegal fucking immigrants? And I'll ask on construction sites, people who are obviously not American, and they get mad. They're like, look, I had to come here. I had to get in line. I had to fill out my paperwork. I had to get my green card, my work visa. And now I'm here and I'm paying taxes. And they're pissed that these illegals are here, making them look bad, making them feel like they have to justify their existence because there are other people out there who just want to be entitled pieces of shit. I just come right out and go, what do you think of these fucking illegal alien Muslims that want to rape women? Nobody says, that's a great idea. Let them rape the women. Nobody says that. So while it seems risky to use free speech because you don't want to offend anyone, and I get that. But if I say we need to get these illegals out there raping girls, if someone's offended by that, they're a piece of shit, and I need to know who they are. They're a piece of shit. They are evil sons of bitches because they're all for it. So they have now, by going so far off the fucking reservation, by being so ridiculously anti-human, so morally decayed and perverted, that all you have to do is go, what do you think of those fucking clowns? And people say some shit like, well, that's wrong. Damn right it's wrong. And so when I talk to people, I try to encourage them, speak up, share your opinion. If you don't, you're going to ultimately be victimized. Period. It does seem risky. It feels daunting. David, you're absolutely correct. But we need to find other people and identify them and let them identify us. When I walk around, folks, well, again, I have an advantage being 6'6", 275 pounds. That people won't fuck with me coming out the gate, right? I went to a political meeting at City Hall last week, and the police were very polite to me and, shook my hand and very nice because I come across a certain way. Now, going to this political meeting, I didn't put my politics out there. I just let the mayor, council for the city, as well as the city council members know who I was, why I was there, what I was proposing, and what is going to happen. I said, we're going to have robust discussions. I was very polite. You don't have to be impolite, especially in those scenarios. But with regular street people, dude, what do you think of these fucking foreigners raping everybody? If they're like, oh yeah, great idea, it would be nice to be able to write that motherfucker's name down. They're going to get it. But also, folks, when things get really nasty, guess what those same people are going to do? The ones that are pro-illegal and pro-pedophile, pro-communist, pro-drugs, they're going to pretend like they're us. They're going to pretend to be, yay, America. They'll start waving their little flags around, yay, America, because they don't want to get thrown out. They don't want to get killed. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to get punished. But the evil, folks, is so evil that it even hates itself. That's right. A house divided against itself cannot stand. So here we go, right? In California, an openly gay Democrat is being publicly humiliated during a San Francisco transgender march. That's right, folks. They were screaming at this openly gay, pro-pedophilia Democrat. At a trans march, they were screaming, we fucking hate you. That's what the LGBTQP crowd screamed at him. Why? Oh, because his name is Scott Wiener. And not only is he openly gay, but he's pro-Israel and a Zionist. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Right? Scott Wiener is an Israeli promoting not only homosexuality and transgenderism, but also pedophilia and trying to reduce the severity of the crime it is to be a pedophile. If he can, they'll eliminate it. He's a member of the California government, the legislature. And he's doing exactly what his Talmud says he should do. Destroy America, destroy the white race, bring in all the sexual perversion, Sodom and Gomorrah, right? He knows and accepts that his belief system makes him the sworn enemy of America. The sworn enemy of America. But as that sworn enemy of America, as an Israeli first, he wants all Palestinians dead. As a Zionist, he wants all Palestinians dead. And the LGB pedophile crowd doesn't approve because most of them are pro-Palestinian gays and bis and lesbians. So evil is divided against itself, and they don't want anyone to live except Israel. The Israelis only want Israel to live, right? This is going to get worse as time progresses for the Zionists. Remember, we now have full-on communists that are trying to get rid of the Zionist-controlled government. See, so they've made everyone become their on-the-street moron warriors, but they want to get rid of the Israelis, folks, right? It's going to get worse for the Zionists as time progresses because everyone also hates them. Yeah, they're getting the Muslims to fight the Christians. They're trying to get the blacks to fight the whites, to fight the Hispanics, to fight the Asians. But ultimately, everyone is waking up, slowly, some, others quickly, and seeing that it is Israeli philosophy, the Israeli control of our government, the Israeli influence of our government. If you don't think they're controlling it, they're buying influence with money. Trump got what, $250 million from pro-Israel sources? Everyone's learning that they are the ones that pull the strings. These evil Zionists will kill everyone they can to secure their power, just like in Russia, just like in the 1920s. But this time, they won't make the same mistake they made with Russia. Now, what mistake did they make with Russia? Is they allowed the white people to take over the Communist Party and government. And they got rid of all of the people they didn't like. They put them in the gulags. But this was after they killed 40 or 50 million Christian farmers, miners, and industrial workers. 40 to 50 million of their own people were killed. So the Zionists today, they won't give up control of the government. They don't want it to be communist. They want it to be fascist, socialist, so they can control it and keep their wealth at the top and give the rest of us down here maximum taxation, minimum rights, and fighting each other until we're all destroyed. Trust me, folks, or don't. Listen to me or not. Here it comes. Now, bullish Paul McCartney does a 556 super chat donation. And I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to read what he has to say. And he has a good one. He says, this country has been founded by Masonic men with historical names. How about George Washington? George Washington. How about Paul Revere? How about Ethan Allen? How about Patrick Henry? How about Samuel Adams? Right? The Masons, the Freemasons. They are heavily responsible for this document right here, the U.S. Constitution. They wrote the Declaration of Independence. They wrote into the Declaration of Independence their philosophy of freedom and human rights, the rights of men as Christians. But they said, and they understood. Now, you're saying it's all based on pagan worship. Thanks, John. That is a good claim, is it not? We'll save the pagan part for the second part because I love this topic. I spent since 1991, I've been studying American history, Christianity, other religions, Freemasonry. Oh, yeah, all of it. To find out who we are as a country and a people, who we are as a religion, right? So, the historical names. John Hancock. Woo! There's a big one, right? The signers of the Declaration of Independence, all Freemasons. Now, what is a Freemason? Why them? Well, at the time, they kept their lodges secret. Right? That's what they did. They kept their lodges secret to protect themselves. You can trust another Mason not to shit you out and rat you out to the English, to the redcoats, to the governors, to the judges. So you could trust each other. They had a system, system of oaths, swearing allegiance to the things they believe, things that became part of the Constitution. It's really fascinating shit. So, were the Freemasons Satanists? Well, if they were Satanists, why did they give us a constitution that says we're all free? Now, did they openly say America has to be a Christian nation and this is how you're going to worship and this is how you're going to believe? The answer is no. Because if you did not have a king as a tyrant, you could have a pope as a tyrant. In both cases, you do not want the government telling you what to believe with respect to your spirituality, how you worship. Right? They made sure and wrote into both the Declaration and the Constitution that we have rights. The rights to defend ourselves, the right to choose, the right to privacy, the right to not self-incriminate, the right to not be cruelly and unusually punished, the right to having legal defense, the right to having a trial by jury, the right to all of our rights. Those were ideals that men liked. All men liked it. But the great philosophers of the time, including Voltaire, European philosophers, they all shared the same ideas. We're tired of the aristocracy. We're tired of the elites. We're tired of the millionaires, the billionaires of their time, controlling us, dominating us, punishing us, killing us. And so they put a fucking end to it. That was the goal and purpose. So how can you say the Freemasons that wrote the Declaration of Independence fought the American Civil War to the death for many of them, and the people that signed the Declaration of Independence, they risked their lives, their families, and their fortunes to be free. And they ended up winning the revolution, writing the Constitution. How can those be the bad guys? How can they be the bad guys? Now we get to part 2 of bullish Paul McCartney. He says their belief systems are based on pagan worship. When was Christ born? You know, if you want to get into the whole Christianity versus paganism. Well, the Catholic Church made December 25th Christ's birthday. That's not when Christ was born. That's when the new year legitimately starts. Because the 21st, 22nd, normally it's the 21st, is the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. And then for about 3 days, the sun doesn't seem to get any bigger. The days don't get longer. And then on the 25th, it can be measured. Right? So the 21st, the sun is its weakest. It dies. The 22nd, 23rd, 24th are those 3 days. And then on the 25th, the days get longer. It's the start of the new year. It's the birth of the sun, or the rebirth of the sun, or the resurrection of the sun. And it is a pagan time of year. Why was that done? Because Catholicism in Europe wanted all of the pagans, that is to say the non-Christians, they wanted to make Christianity more palatable to the pagans so they would convert to Christianity, which ultimately, over the last 2,000 years, has resulted in a more civilized system of cultures and laws and rules and peace and prosperity. I'm not saying there weren't wars. Of course there were. I'm not saying there weren't crimes. Of course there were. I'm not saying there weren't fucking tyrants. Of course there were. But Christianity is definitely got a lot of pagan stuff in it. A lot. The Christmas tree. Santa Claus, who is a god that came out of the North Pole bringing food and firewood, coal. Remember how it used to be bad to get, if you're a bad kid, you're going to get coal from Santa. Coal keeps your house warm. Coal is good. People had to pay big money for coal. And if you're poor, it's very hard to stay warm in the winter in the cold countries, right? Anyways, Santa Claus, pagan, right? The Easter Bunny, right? They brought other religious ideas and melded them with Christianity. And yeah, you could call it pagan worship or pagan this or pagan that. And I get it. I understand it. But what is a better religion? One that says do unto others as you would have them do unto you? Or the religion that says, you're not one of us, we're going to fucking kill you. You're not one of us, we're going to steal your money. You're not one of us, we're going to treat you like cattle. You're not one of us, we're going to rape your wife, your daughters. You're not one of us. We fucking hate you. Christians don't do that. So this is a great discussion point, and I really appreciate it. Because when you understand, you understand. If you can accept it, you can accept it. Right? I happen to know a lot about all these things because I've spent the last literal 35 fucking years. Actually, I started before. When I was 18, when I was 14, I became a prepper and started looking at the truth and the facts. Who's the John Birch Society? Right? You listen to a little Charlie Daniels music, you hear shit like that. Right? You figure it out. There's a problem. So were the Masons good or bad? They're good. Oh, shit. Let's get into the Illuminati. Who's the fucking Illuminati? The Masons are the Illuminati. No, they're not. The Bavarian Illuminati, they were sending secret messages on how to use Masonic lodges in Europe, not America, as a way to gain control and mastery over business, money, economics, finance, and then overthrow kings. They got caught. They fucking destroyed in the United States of America. George Washington said, oh, yeah, because it was the Bavarian Illuminati under Adam Weishaupt in 1776. They got caught. In America, they said, you're the fuck out. We don't want Illuminati here. So the Illuminati is the sworn enemies of Freemasons. Freemasons love what? Freedom and liberty. Free. They want freedom. The Illuminati want to master everyone and control them from the top. So when Masonry threw them the fuck out of Masonry, got rid of the Illuminati swore that they would destroy Freemasonry. And they've done everything they can. And badmouthed them and talk shit and made up conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory. And the Freemasons are still being called the Illuminati when they're not. The Freemasons don't own the biggest corporations. They don't run the banks. They don't follow Jewish or Muslim traditions and goals and religion. No, they're fucking Christians. They're Christians, for fuck's sake. Now, you can be a Muslim and be a Freemason. I wouldn't trust one. I guess you could be a Jew and a Freemason. If I found out, I wouldn't trust them. I just wouldn't. Because I know that their religion trumps and triumphs any other thoughts, philosophical otherwise. Freemasons are a bunch of philosophers. And at one point, they were men that made sure this country got the freedom it deserved. So you could worship as a hardcore Catholic or a hardcore Protestant. Good stuff. Great topic. A lot to learn out there. And here we are with 5 minutes left, and we've got Robin in the house with a $50 super chat donation. And we're going right back. Oops, let me get this. There it is, Robin. There's a good one. Whoop. That's a healthy shot. Thank you very much, Robin. And I know what she's up to. I know what she wants to talk about. She wants to talk about Citizen Vigilante, which is being referred to as the movie. That's right, the movie. Thank you, Robin, very much. I'm going to get into the rest of what you have to say, and we'll address everything. She says, about the movie, Citizen Vigilante. I watched it. The reason I turn away is because I saw it firsthand. A gunshot to someone's head. To be honest, I went into shock. I'm going to stop right here. It is shocking in real life. It's shocking to see people get beaten up, whether they deserve it or not. It's a shock to the system when you're part of a civilized society, a civilized culture, a civilized religion, a civilized social structure. It's shocking when you see someone beaten up. It's shocking when you see someone stabbed. It's shocking when you see someone get knocked to the ground and then get kicked in the head and stomped in the head by a bunch of unruly gangsters, whether they're domestic or illegal. It's shocking when you see someone shot. It is fucking shocking to see the amount of blood that can come out of someone. And in some cases, it's shocking to see how little blood comes out. You know, that person just got shot. Where's all the blood? Right? The bullet went in and kind of sealed itself around there with a little bit of blood. But you know, that bullet ricocheted around in there. If it didn't come out, it's bad. It's shocking to see a headshot. Is absolutely fucking shocking. Okay, especially if it's with a I'm going to use the term hyper powerful or high power rifle or a handgun, especially with hollow points. It is incredibly shocking. It will sit you back. It will scare the fuck out of you. So Robin continues, it took a few to snap out of it, meaning when she saw firsthand a gunshot to someone's head. How many people are ready to see a real life scene like that? And how does one see a real life scene like that? Now, by the way, the attendance is great. Over 300 the whole fucking show. Share the internet address at the top with everyone. Friends, family, loved one, everyone. Be sure to thumbs up the video. Be a subscriber. And now to answer Robin's question. How does one do that? Well, you need to be desensitized. And watching a movie like Citizen Vigilante, where you see people in the movie being stabbed in the neck, blood squirting out everywhere. It's part of that movie. It's gruesome. I saw it and went, ooh, nasty. Just like Irina Zasruska getting stabbed in the neck and fucking bleeding out everywhere. Just like Charlie Kirk, when he got shot or his microphone blew up, depending on what you want to believe, right? Blew up and exited out his neck and blood just coming out huge. It's shocking. But movies are great to desensitize you, or rather, to use, instead of the word desensitize, how about condition you to understand that those things happen and it may be you that needs to do it. Okay? How does one become desensitized? Become accustomed to seeing that? Movies are a big way, right? So you wonder about all these kids and all their video games. I was told when I was a kid playing ridiculous games, they're like, this is going to teach kids to be violent. You're going to be the most violent. Now we got games called Call of Duty where you literally, they're blowing people up left and right. The games I played looked silly and ridiculous. You shoot someone, they just disappeared. You shoot someone in these games and blood goes everywhere. It's fucked up, right? But these kids are desensitized. You can watch movies like John Wick, right? You watch a John Wick movie, by the end, you're like, I don't know how many people that guy killed. Stabbed, shot, killed, beat, threw off a building, whatever, right? You're just like, it's boring now. But to do it yourself, right? You're asking, how does one do it? How many people are ready to see it in real life? I'll tell you what. Buy a small watermelon and buy a lifelike human mask at a costume store. Stand back at least 25 feet and shoot that with a hollow point and watch the shit fly everywhere. Start with just a watermelon first. Blow it the fuck up. Hit it with a shotgun. Hit it with a handgun. Hit it with a rifle, right? And see it explode. Then put a human mask on it. Now, the police got in trouble years ago for their lifelike targets they were bringing out. Instead of just a a white piece of paper with a silhouette of a man in there on black. They started doing realistic targets that showed a pregnant woman holding a gun, a white guy holding a gun, a black guy holding a gun, whatever, right? They were more realistic targets. So you stop thinking I can only shoot paper. I may need to shoot real humans. We can do the same thing. Print pictures or get targets that have regular looking people on it. I'm sure they are not going to sell Sikh, Hindu, and Muslim target, right? That look like realistic, normal people, but you can make your own. But get some melons and put a rubber mask on it. The bullet's going to go through the rubber real easy and blow the back of the watermelon to pieces. You know, that will help you get used to seeing when I shoot something that looks like a human that's committing a heinous crime, I can expect to see red watermelon fly everywhere. Right? And that's it. That's the best you can do. Otherwise, it is a conditioning thing. The psychology is it was me or him, or me or her, or me or them. Right? And then justification, it was me or them. They're criminals. They're anti-American. They are anti-Christian. They're killing people. They're raping girls, right? So you can justify it, but it doesn't take away the shock. It just doesn't. But you can do the very best you can. Right? My thing when I grew up and then went into the Marines was communists. They're the bad guys. Get down, get ready, get ready and understand that if we go to war, you're going to be killing fucking commies. And that's just the way it is. It's just the way it was. Thank you very much, Robin. It is past the 2 hours, but guess what? We've got more super chats. And I need to go back to this one. Here we go. Thank you, Robin, very much for that. Great super chat, great support. And then we got, and as long as there's super chats, I'll stay here all night long because that's how we keep the lights on. And that's how we keep the pantry full of Spam, which is a pork product, and also tuna fish. But Bob Hunter, big Bob Hunter, bam, with the super hat trick today. $10 or 10 pound coming out of Scotland. He says, John, I have experienced deep love and deep distress in my life, but I came out the other side. Your thoughts on turning your life around, John? Okay. Wow. I, like everyone else, and I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm unique in this, Bob and everyone. I've had a lot of pain and suffering in my life, just like all of you. I've had my heart made to feel huge and immense with full of love and good things, and I've had my heart smashed. Absolutely smashed and destroyed many, many times. In fact, I'll even say more than I ever broke any girl's heart or any guy's heart. I'm not gay, but more than right? It's time and time again. If you put yourself out there as a good person, as a loving person, as a caring person, as a genuine human, you will get shit on and destroyed. Same with work. I've had people try and destroy my professional career. I've had people try and destroy this channel multiple times. One guy was such an asshat, we had our attorney go after him. That's right. We used to have a prepared mind attorney out of Texas. This guy was an actual legitimate attorney. He sent me his papers that he actually argued in front of the United States Supreme Court. Right? That's what kind of a good attorney this was. He stopped that fucking clown. Right? I've had people try and destroy me personally, professionally, spiritually. I've had my family taken from me. I had to win some of my family back. So I've been attacked by non-family. I've been attacked by other religious assholes, other spiritual assholes, other countries' assholes, right? So you asked for my thoughts on turning it around. How do I maintain a positive mental attitude? How do I, keep my chin up? Because that's what life is. right? To experience all the things in life. This is what I've had to do. I don't get mad at God. I don't blame other people and everyone for it. I just know that this is how humans are, and they're going to do it to you, especially if they're not of the same culture. They don't share the same traditions. They don't share the same basic political philosophies of freedom and liberty, right? Like, you don't have to agree with my Christianity, right? If you're a Catholic, that doesn't make you an enemy to me. If you're a Protestant, that doesn't make, right? All of these things. But I look at it philosophically and using my spiritual and religious beliefs that I am here for this very purpose, which is why I left California, went to the RMZ way down south, and then came back up to Florida because I believe that was what I was supposed to do. I believe that I'm supposed to be in this seat every day that I can. I take off Saturday just to have a day off. And then Sunday Night Live, where we're at right now, this is how we're kicking off the work week, right? But to me, every day is sacred, right? So I don't want to hear any of this. What day is the sacred day? Everyone knows what the sacred day is. Just depends on whether you do follow the pagan day or not. Anyways, here we go again. How do I get through this? I'm here to experience this. I'm here to serve a purpose. I have the beliefs I have and the morals I have and the intelligence I have and the knowledge I have because I want to use it to fulfill my personal duty. Right? I have a right, I have a duty to defend America, my country, and my people. And so that's what I do. That's when you ask your thoughts on turning your life around. That's what keeps me going. I'm not saying I didn't have pity parties. I wasn't mad at the world. I was never Job, by the way, just because I know that story too well. I know that's what fucking Satan would want me to do, right? Is blame the world and blame God and give up on my faith because life is difficult. I've had millions of dollars stolen from me. I had my family taken from me. All these shit, right? Homie, don't play that, right? This is like I said, it's not that I wasn't hurt. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't destroyed. But my job is to be me and to do this, right? I make things. I build houses. I build people. I help people. I take good men and help make them better, right? Same with women. If I meet women and they want to learn, I'll teach. That's my job. And if it comes to fighting, I'll fight. And knowing that that's my purpose, Bob, is what keeps me going. Otherwise, I've told people, and I'll tell you guys again, I've done everything. I've done everything in life. I've experienced everything that I think a man should experience. So that I know the ups and the downs, the goods and the bads, the crushing defeats, the just exhilarating victories, right? I could die and I could stand in judgment and you're just a man. But I've experienced an awful lot, but I'm not done, obviously, because I'm not dead. Yes, I went swimming and there's a thunder and lightning storm. I didn't get out of the water. Didn't want to. It's not my time. Not my time. But, you said you came out the other side. I'm glad you did, Bob. All of us have suffered, and you either come out swinging until you again become victorious in the experience of life. This is very philosophical stuff, and I'm just trying to put it into everyday human words. But, these people that are homeless, they're like, I was a businessman once. I had a business. I had a family in life. Now they're on the street, living on the street. They've given up. Sadly, they've given up. It's terrible. It's terrible. But something happened, and they gave up on themselves. Never do that. You can lose a spouse. You can lose your friends. You can lose even your children. And you should not give up. You should not. Bob, love you, brother. I'm glad you're over there in Scotland doing what you do. And now we're going to take a look at Blue Cord Devil checking in. We're at 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we've got a $50 super chat donation, which means I get another scotch here. Whoa. That's a big one. Got another scotch here at the end of the show. Blue Cord has been a great and very philosophical and spiritual and good guy and supporter of the channel for years and years. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. Woof. 18 year. Got to keep Milo the cat out of that stuff. All right. Blue Court says, peace and prayers to John, Jolene, Uman, and everyone else here. Watch your six. Stay calm. Stay armed. Got my cordless hole punchers right here. It says, find your people you can count on in hard times now. Get everything you need. I'll put in the word now, or may need in the future. Get it now. Most importantly, knowledge. Get everything that you need. Hard copies, meaning it's good to have it here, but also get what you need to know in print, whether it's law or medicine, first aid, how to get power, how to purify, filter, sanitize water. Get the information now. Print it off. If you've got a plan, print it off. And the reason I say that, even if you're well prepared, Scotch got me. Even if you're well prepared, when shit goes crazy, you may have a hard time remembering everything. If it's written down, if the things you need to know, how to make cement, how to build a shelter, right? How to administer first aid. If it's written down, it'll help you refresh your memory or go line by line on what to do with any given problem. If you want a self-defense perimeter around your home, property, neighborhood, get it all together and write it down and put it on paper, and then look at it and see if you've got what you need there to defend against people coming down the street, right? Do you need avenues of approach you need to cover? Do you need interlocking fields of fire? Do you just need a couple of observation posts with a sniper in them? Literally. And by sniper, I mean anyone who's a good shot. I'm not talking about military sniping. If you got one of those, great. You don't have to be a military sniper. You don't have to be a rifle expert. You don't have to be a handgun specialist, right? You don't have to be John Wick, right? Shooting people and kicking them and punching them and knocking. You learn what you can, become proficient with what you can, get prepared as possible, and write down what you need. Blue Cord Devil, thank you very much, sir. And if that's it, unless another super chat pops through, I'm going to call it a night because I need to get up zero dark. I'll be up zero dark and going to work. And at some point tomorrow, I'm probably going to do at least one daily broadcast before we meet again. And we'll meet again tomorrow night, right? Good night to all. Everyone, men, women, Americans, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, Japanese, Brits, Scots, Irish, French, German, Dutch, Swedes. Samson Delilah, I'm going to put this up. Have drones as well. Drones are good for intel, but guess what? They can be shot down. And anti-drone ammunition. We got a anti-drone. Anti-drone ammunition is duck and goose shot. Number 2s up into buckshot. Out of a shotgun will help you hit a drone at a decent distance. But remember, the bad guys using a drone, they're not going to like that. They'll come and find you. They may even see you. And God forbid that these bastards have the ability, right, to attach ordnance, grenades, explosive devices to a drone and drop it on you. That is a cowardly chicken shit way to fight, but no, that's what they do. Anyways, Big Bob checks in with a £2 ending super chat. He says, I love you, John. Love you too, Bob. But he says, my cat loves you more. I'm sure of it. I appreciate that. My good buddy, Milo, he's a good guy too. God bless all. Chance favors the prepared mind. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Share the internet address. Share it. Wake people up. Get them prepared and get them to go to the preparedmind.club and check in there. Check in. I'll see you all tomorrow.